So now let's get on to the diet portion. This is a very big, widely talked about topic is dieting. So I want to first start off by saying, let's get rid of the term diet. Why? Why would we get rid of the term diet? Well, a diet implies that there is an end date, right? And for some people, having an end date to your diet is fine. But for others, they think, oh, I've reached my goal, I'm done. The unfortunate thing in fitness is you are never done. Once you reach your goal, you may have to do maintenance, but we want to create a healthy lifestyle, whatever the case may be. We want this to be a lifestyle, not just a quick diet, right? Let's talk about weight loss. And first and foremost, let's strike that from our vocabulary. Weight loss is not really a thing unless you're withering away. Weight can mean anything. Your body's comprised of a lot of different things. That being bones, organs, muscle tissue, water, food. There's a ton of different things that comprise your body. And when we think about weight loss or we talk about weight loss, what we're actually talking about is fat loss. I see so many of my clients and so many people get fixated on the number on the scale. And quite frankly, the number on the scale doesn't matter because your body is comprised of so many different things. Bones, organs, muscle tissue, water, food that you've eaten. There's so many different things that comprise your body. Just judging the weight on the scale is not enough. It's going to drive you crazy, and your body weight can fluctuate like crazy. Your body can hold an unbelievable amount of water from day to day. So what we are concerned about when we talk about weight loss is the loss of fat. The loss of fat is the goal. That's what we're all trying to achieve when we say weight loss. So it's important to remember you don't have to be fixated on the number on the scale. Yes, it's a good marker and a good way to keep track of your results. However, it's not looking at the in-depth details of your results. You're just seeing weight loss. And you could be losing a lot more than just fat. You could be losing muscle. You could be losing water, which both of those two things, we need. Right? Muscle is very important to the fat loss journey, and that's something we will talk about in another video. But going back to diets. So one of the very common things that I come across in a lot of my training and with a lot of my clients is how do you diet? And that's kind of the $1 million question at this point, because diets there's so many of them out there, and I want to first forewarn you of charlatans trying to sell you a one size fits all diet. Let me be very clear. There really isn't a one size fits all diet. Everybody is different, and one size fits all diets will they work? Yes, probably a little bit, but will they be as efficient as you want them to be? Most likely not. And there's a very specific reason because of this, and that's because everybody is different. We are all chemically different, down to the core, down to the scientific level. We are all so different. The way that I explain this to a lot of my clients is food allergies. I don't know if any of you watching this video have food allergies, but let's pretend you all don't. So if you guys don't have any food allergies, I do. I have lactose intolerance. If I drink dairy, it's going to be a very bad day for me if I drink it in massive quantities. And assuming you don't have that same food allergy, that's one tiny molecule that affects us both very, very differently. So if we take a step back and we really think about it, we have to wonder, okay, well, if the lactose molecule can affect Scott differently than it affects me, what else is affected differently in our bodies? How is protein utilized in my body different than his? How are carbohydrates different in my body than his? When we put that over the broad spectrum of all nutrients, we can then start to kind of understand that it's not a one size fits all thing. There is no one specific way to do it. If it was that easy, everybody would be fit. And it can be very easy. It just has to be informed. You have to be informed to do it. You have to know kind of what you're doing. And that's kind of the purpose of why we're here. Understanding your own body is what's really going to help you facilitate the most efficient results that you can get. Understanding how your body utilizes things. In my experience, In my experience, a lot of what happens in a fitness journey is a lot of trial and error. And I think just about anybody can attest to that. It is about trial and error. I talk a lot about three things. I think that your fitness results are about three things: applied science, consistency, and course correction. And this is something I talk a lot about with my clients. Building those three things together and understanding them and how to utilize them will really get you where you want to be. So let's talk a little bit about them individually. So applied science, having the knowledge of what you're doing and how to get there. So understanding calories in versus calories out, understanding macronutrients, understanding what foods are good, what foods are bad. And all of this pertaining specifically to diets. It can also be applied to training programs as well, but we're just going to talk about diets today. So secondly, consistency. Doing it consistently. Even if you have a mediocre diet program, if you consistently do it, you will eventually see results. They may not be as quick as you want them to see, or you want to see them, but you will get there, I promise. You just have to be consistent about it. And the last one I've added in the recent months, course correction. It's very important to understand, it's very important to know how to course correct. We all make mistakes. We're all human. Guilty. But it's very important that when we do make those mistakes, we understand why they were bad and how to correct on them. So to give you a specific example about when my last time cutting, I had a day where I was stressed out the wazoo from work. I came home and I was like, I just couldn't handle work that day. It was, I think we've all had those days, definitely. But I came home and I was so stressed out, I just decided, you know what? I'm going to go get a box of Fruit Loops. And I ate the entire damn thing. I love cereal. Cereal and donuts are my kryptonite. Well, let's back up. I knew that was bad. I knew it's not something I should eat right before I go to bed. And I knew it was going to have a negative effect on my results. But guess what? The next day, I woke up, didn't feel very great. And I decided, okay, well, now I'm going to figure out how to course correct from that so that I can regain the progress that I had before I decided to eat an entire box of Fruit Loops, which was fantastic, by the way. So with that being said, course correction is very, very important. Understanding how to manipulate that stuff can help you be legions ahead of where you would be had you not known how to course correct. And a good analogy that I utilize quite a bit is an airplane. So if you're taking an airplane from Denver, Colorado to New York, and most planes fly on autopilot nowadays, but let's say we set the autopilot 6 degrees in the wrong direction. 6 degrees is not a big turn, but if 6 degrees over a long period of time is going to have you in a completely different place, probably in the middle of the ocean, from where you would be in the beginning. So what autopilot does is it course corrects. It constantly course corrects due to wind, due to other variables. That's what we have to become. We have to become a course correction machine. We have to be autopilot, right? This will help you more than anything anybody else can teach you. I can guarantee you that. So now let's talk about being in a caloric deficit. What does that mean? First of all, we all have something called our BMR, which is our basal metabolic rate. This is an important thing to know and understand because it tells us exactly where our body is as far as our caloric intake goes. So your BMR is basically how many calories you need to eat to stay exactly where you're at. Simply put, that's pretty much where it is. Once we understand what that level is, we call that maintenance level. If we want to gain, we go above it. If we want to lose, we go below it. It's very important to understand this because this is how we can manipulate our body's composition. Now, to be in a caloric deficit, we usually start by dropping calories incrementally down until we start seeing weight loss. Now, it's not a good idea to drop calories all the way to the bottom. Your body needs food. I've had people come into my office and talk to me about, how many calories are you eating? Oh, I'm eating about 800. That's not enough. Starving yourself is not the name of the game because in that scenario, you're more likely losing muscle than fat. Fat is what we want to lose. We want to keep muscle. But when you're in such a caloric deficit, your body will cannibalize itself. It will eat your muscle as a readily available fuel. And in the efforts of burning more calories every day and keeping the weight off, we want to build muscle. Now let's talk a little bit about macronutrients. So for those of you who don't know, macronutrients are your breakdowns of proteins, carbs, and fats. These three things can be manipulated quite a bit to help achieve weight loss and help kind of tailor it specifically to you. I know for me, I am very carbohydrate sensitive, so my body tends to store fat very easily when I have an excessive amount of carbohydrates. Once we can really understand where your body is at, then we can really start to manipulate, okay, well, I need a higher fat diet with a lower carbohydrates. And these are the sorts of ways we can play around and kind of manipulate it and tweak it so that it's perfect for each individual. And this is where the success lies. If I had to put an order of importance, the biggest one would be calories, second would be macros, and then so on and so forth. We'll keep adding to that list after this. So that's about all the time I have for today. I hope some of this was helpful. There will be a ton more videos in the future with a lot of awesome tips and advice. This was just kind of an intro towards it. I will be posting my before picture up here soon, so be prepared for that. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm pretty chunky at the moment, but I'm excited for you guys to join me on this weight loss journey, and hopefully I can join you guys on some of your fitness journeys and maybe help facilitate some of that. If you guys have any questions about anything we covered today or any other questions whatsoever, please feel free to contact me via social media or email. You can also visit my page, scottlawsonfitness.com. There, I kind of break down a little bit more in depth programs. If you guys do have questions about anything like that, are interested in getting started, anything like that, please feel free to have a look around, check out my page. Make sure you subscribe to the video because there's going to be plenty of more content coming your way. And you know what? Have a good rest of your evening. Take it easy.